Yeah, I think
You,
that it's odd um, that there's a reason why that they have this song called "The Thin Line Between Love and Hate." The very thing that you may love about a person might be the very same thing that you grow to detest about a person. Just like, there is things people look for in a relationship. So, say for instance, a woman wants a man to protect her, right? And he's this big, strong, 6 foot, diesel dude, right? Just chisel, like Adonis looking dude, right? And oftentimes, that physically strong dude that's willing to protect you, that same thing that he's able to do can be turned on you. And sometimes I don't think women ever, or people in general, don't think about the things that you like about a person. How would it feel if it got turned on you? And like, I just think that's just the things that just happen. Like, you want what you want, the when you want it, and then like you love this person. This person was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but then one thing that was said that was wrong, and now you're off to the races, and now you're in your feelings, and now, man, you just continue to go down the slope because, like you guys were talking about, you don't have resolution skills because you feel entitled to happiness every day of your life.
I think a lot of, at least in my relationship early on, and it's interesting how if one person learns how to manage themselves and their emotions to separate what's their interpretation and what's just neutral facts, that can change everything. Because I'll take ownership. I was creating fights where there weren't any, because of the way that I was perceiving things. And it's just so interesting how one person can learn tools and skills and can change everything. And of course too, now when things do come up, and this to the broader point, I think a lot of times, just in all situations, I guess, not only with, your spouse or the mother of your child, the father of your child, or whatever, ask yourself first, is the way that I'm perceiving this, well, how am I perceiving this? And is this serving me? Is this helpful? Is this useful? Is this helpful for this person? Do I need to go there? I think just asking that question can really mitigate a bunch of drama, because you just don't need to go there if it's not helpful.
Yeah, Coach K, I agree with that. I think that's excellent advice. And another thing, like what I tend to do is like say, I mean, people gonna have emotion, they're gonna feel different ways, right? What I would do is I try to sit on something. If I start feeling away, I know decisions made out of emotion is terrible decisions 95% of the time, right? So I just remove myself, set back, and think about it, and then think like, is this logical? Is what I'm thinking is occurring or could occur, or if what I'm feeling is this really the person's intent, right? And before you get to a point where you say something that you don't mean or that's extremely hurtful that you can't take back, sometimes you just got to take a step back, ground yourself, and then re-engage that conversation. Because if you liable to say damn to anything when you upset, and you can't take some stuff back. That's how people get told that ain't your child. She was mad and this ain't your child. You can't take that back for the rest of the child life. Even after paternity test, she was cheating on me. And she just said that because she was trying to find something hurtful to say. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to step back and ground yourself and then move forward in the conversation. But like you say, I think the reason that, because I'm not the person that's going to engage and bicker back and forth. So my expectation that nobody should be fighting in a relationship, but it might just take one person. But it's great when it's two people that can do it. And I think the man, typically teach that in a relationship. But that's what you call to say it. So
So to that point, um, if you, with single parent households, whether it's mothers or fathers, it doesn't really matter. There isn't that period where you get to step away, right? There isn't that other person that you get to tag in to be like, all right, listen, my emotions are out of control. I need a second. I need you to take over, right? So that's a huge part of how it affects parenting. The other part is, it's not just teaching children stuff, the do as I say, not as I do, but the other part of parenting is also modeling behavior, right? And if you don't have a partner to model behavior with, you're missing a chunk out of that parenting that you can't substitute. So I totally agree with I guess to your question, it absolutely affects single parent households.
So
And go
no,
ahead,
go
Shane.
ahead, because I'm gonna add to the question. I'm gonna bring it
Okay.
another way.
Kind of back to your question, and kind of a point Marcus made also. I actually have a theory. If you have a kid, you shouldn't be trying to date until that kid is about 14 years of age anyway. I believe that there are so many as a single parent, if you are a true single parent, there are so many responsibilities that you have, and there are so many expectations that bringing in somebody else that they already carry. And you kind of, what to Marcus's point, if you have another person there, let's say that there is a co-parent situation, I'll be damned if another man is going to discipline my kid. And understanding, you know, the growth of a child, you don't do much of the hands-on, the spankings and the real hardcore what I call the hardcore parenting up after the age of 14, because that's when they're about to start moving through high school and they're going to end up leaving the nest. And I think at that point they've kind of grown their personality. They're kind of coming more into their own, and I think that allows a bit more flexibility when it comes to bringing someone else into your home. Prior to that, I just think that it's a bad idea to to try to date. I don't think you should be dating anyway. I think you should be moving on purpose with intent and be trying to looking for marriage. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Just my opinion.
Well, you have to date
So
to get marriage, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the society we live in now. I have serious pushback for that, because then you're leaving yourself in a situation where you're not modeling what healthy relationship looks like until like past their formative years, right? So a lot of, unfortunately, damage is done up until that point by doing it on your own, right? Even in a co-parenting situation, right? I think that if you're moving with intent and dating with intention, you're able to find somebody who fits into the system you have going appropriately. And that's really when you find somebody who's a part of communication amongst the co-parenting situation, where they're not going to discipline your children. They're going to turn your children to you to get the discipline. So like, I think even in co-parenting situations, it's still important to still, because that man could turn, those men will often turn around and find a woman to take under them, whereas that woman is told, no, you have to be by yourself until those children are grown. So what is that modeling for those children who are still developing their idea of the world, right? I think that's not as productive as people say it is. I think we should be instructing on how to date better. I don't think that it's conducive to raising children to tell a woman to be alone until her children are double digit years.
I'm not just talking about a woman, but I'm I'm not just talking about a woman, but to your point, the model is already broken if you guys aren't married. The model is already bad. So if you're gonna if you don't want a revolving door, because who's to say the next relationship will work out, and the one after that, or the one after that. So that in itself is a terrible model to show your kids. However, I believe that hopefully both parents are involved. That's the hope. Both parents are involved, and if both parents are involved, personally, I don't think it's a woman thing. I think neither one should really be looking to try to date when the child is still in those formative years. You like you. I just don't think that is the next best model is to co-parent and raise the kid, and hopefully you can teach them that although I made these mistakes, your dad and I, or your mom and I, did these things to make you a productive adult. And you know that these are the things that we did wrong, so you don't make those same mistakes. But a revolving door on either end is not anything you want to show your kids either.
I think that revolving door, I do think that kids should not meet everybody that you are dating or courting. I do think that there needs to be a certain amount of seriousness that needs to take place before your kids are exposed to another person. Like, we know we're moving forward towards marriage, and then you start to introduce the kids. You can definitely date without exposing the kids to the people that you're dating, especially if you're co-parenting, because then you go on dates when the other parent has the child. But as far as emotions are concerned, let's just think more along the lines of what takes place today. Do you think, because we talk about how a lot of manipulation takes place in the dating market today, right? People are being ghosted, gaslighting, love bombing, all of these things that are taking place. So even if you are going in and your heart is pure and you're trying to find a mate, people get played all the time. Do you think that the way people play on emotions has an effect on the way you parent? Because you do take that home. You can't just be like, oh, I was ghosted, or I fell in love and he played me, and you just leave it right there. More than likely, you still have those emotions with you when you're parenting. Do you think that is do you think that hinders your relationship with your child or plays a role?